He received 2 60-year sentences and, the tongue lashing of the century.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're looking at 20 criminals who will never see freedom for the rest of their lives.
Yes. Right. You killed them all, Ridgway. You killed them all. Mm-hmm.
Number 20, Dylann Roof.
You are looking at the scene of that deadly massacre. Mother Emanuel AMA Church, Charleston, South Carolina. It looks peaceful now. But between 8 and 9 last night, a gunman walked in during Bible study, joined the group, and then suddenly opened fire.
On June 17, 2015, neo-Nazi Dylann Roof entered Emanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Charleston, South Carolina, and opened fire, killing 9 worshipers in a racially motivated massacre. The horrific act was intended to incite a race war, and Roof's writings and online activity revealed deep white supremacist ideologies. Convicted on 33 federal hate crime and murder charges, Roof became the first criminal in American history sentenced to death for federal hate crimes. Despite appeals, his death sentence has been repeatedly upheld. In fact, Joe Biden commuted 37 death row inmates to life imprisonment in 2024. Roof was not one of them, and he is currently on death row in USP Terre Haute.
But despite anything Dylann Roof had to say yesterday, they made their decision to sentence him to death.
Number 19, Richard Reid.
In the months following the September 11th terror attacks, a terror attack involving shoe bombs would be foiled. That attempt happened 21 years ago today, and it changed the way we travel.
Perhaps better known as the shoe bomber, Richard Reid attempted to commit an act of terrorism on December 22, 2001. During American Airlines Flight 63 from Paris to Miami, Reid attempted to detonate explosives hidden inside his shoes. However, passengers and crew noticed his suspicious behavior and managed to subdue him before he could ignite the device. The explosives would have destroyed the aircraft and killed 197 people had they detonated successfully. Reid later confessed his allegiance to al-Qaeda and was charged with multiple terrorism-related offenses. He was sentenced to 3 life sentences and is currently housed inside ADX Florence, a Colorado Supermax prison which is deemed inescapable. It's where the worst of the worst are sent.
It is as isolated as the prisoners who call it home. The prison, called ADX Florence, is a tomb for the living.
To me, it's life after death.
Number 18, Martin Bryant.
Good evening. A siege is underway in the Tasmanian town of Port Arthur, where at least 25 people have been shot dead in Australia's worst massacre. Another 26 are wounded.
This Australian man shocked the world in April 1996 when he committed the Port Arthur massacre, which remains Australia's deadliest mass shooting. Armed with 2 semi-automatic rifles, Bryant murdered 35 people and injured 23 others at the tourist site in Tasmania, devastating the nation and prompting sweeping gun reform in the country. Captured after the rampage, Bryant was found mentally competent and pleaded guilty to all charges. He received 35 life sentences plus an extra 1,035 years, obviously without the possibility of parole. Bryant has tried to take his own life inside prison on at least 2 different occasions and is currently housed in the maximum security Risdon prison complex.
Today, Martin Bryant lives here, inside the walls of Risdon Prison on the outskirts of Hobart. He is serving 35 life sentences, 1,035 years without parole, cast into outer darkness and banished from society forever.
Number 17, Paul Bernardo.
Ultimately, the deal Carla made with the prosecution would stand. She would serve just 12 years for her part in the crimes, whilst Paul Bernardo will spend the rest of his life behind bars.
One of Canada's most infamous criminals, Paul Bernardo sexually assaulted numerous women in the Toronto area before marrying a woman named Karla Homolka and graduating to murder. Together, the couple drugged and killed Karla's sister Tammy, and having gotten away with that, they kidnapped, sexually assaulted, and murdered 2 other girls, Leslie Mahaffey and Kristen French. The story continues to provoke intense outrage in Canada, especially owing to Homolka's freedom, as she received just 12 years in exchange for testifying against Bernardo. As for him, he received life imprisonment with the possibility of parole after 25 years. However, he has also been designated a dangerous offender, meaning he will likely never be released. Indeed, he has been denied parole 3 different times.
The parole board told Bernardo he's overestimating his skills and would pose an undue risk to the community. He's been denied parole again, so now at age 60, there's no telling if he'll ever be released.
Number 16, Frank Robert James.
Today at 8:24 a.m., aboard a Manhattan-bound N train, 10 people were shot 7 males, 3 females, and they were removed to area hospitals.
On April 12, 2022, Frank Robert James boarded a crowded New York City subway train during the morning rush hour. He then donned a gas mask and unleashed 2 smoke bombs before firing 33 bullets from a handgun, injuring 29 passengers, 10 from direct gunfire and 19 from smoke inhalation. Arrested just 1 day later following a massive manhunt, James later admitted to planning the attack and pleaded guilty to terrorism-related offenses. In 2023, a federal judge sentenced him to 10 concurrent life sentences without the possibility of parole. Owing to the severity of the crime, James was taken to ADX Florence to serve his sentence alongside other terrorists.
On that horrific morning, when New Yorkers left their homes and boarded the N train, they had no idea that they were entering a death trap that Frank James orchestrated.
Number 15, Eric Rudolph.
5 accepting multiple life sentences to avoid the death penalty.
Known as the Olympic Park bomber, Eric Rudolph is another terrorist currently being held inside ADX Florence. Rudolph waged a campaign of domestic bombings between 1996 and 1998, targeting the 1996 Atlanta Olympics, abortion clinics, and a gay nightclub. His attacks, the most notable being the Centennial Olympic Park bombing of 1996, killed 2 people and injured over 100 others. After years on the run in the Appalachian wilderness, Rudolph was finally captured in 2003. He ultimately pleaded guilty to avoid the death penalty and received 4 consecutive life sentences, all without the possibility of parole. Rudolph now spends his days in near total isolation and has taken to writing, penning a memoir and various militant essays.
Rudolph's brother published the bomber's autobiography called Between the Lines of Drift, The Memoirs of a Militant, in February of this year. Now it's free online for everyone to see. It details his anti-abortion, anti-gay beliefs and how he carried out 4 bombings in Atlanta and Birmingham in the 90s.
Number 14, Ramzi Youssef.
A judge sentenced the 2 to life in prison with no possibility of parole. The judge, calling Youssef an apostle of evil, ruled that Youssef should serve the remainder of his life in solitary confinement.
A key architect of global terrorism in the 1990s, Ramzi Youssef masterminded the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, killing 6 people and injuring over 1,000. But that wasn't all. He also plotted to destroy multiple airliners in the so-called Bojinka plot and masterminded the bombing of Philippine Airlines Flight 434. Captured in Pakistan in 1995, Youssef was extradited to the United States and convicted on numerous terrorism and conspiracy charges. In 1998, Youssef received 2 life sentences plus an extra 240 years, ensuring that he will never see the light of day again. He is currently housed on Bombers Row in ADX Florence and has seemingly converted to Christianity, having supposedly, quote, found Jesus in 2007.
A prisoner lives in a cell the size of a bathroom. It has a shower, a toilet, a concrete slab covered with a thin mattress. In the rare time outside, prisoners are kept in cages.
Number 13, David Berkowitz.
In the mid-1970s, New York City was plunged into terror.
I can't tell you what effect this series of crimes had on the city of New York.
Between 1976 and 1977, New York City lived in terror as David Berkowitz prowled the streets, shooting random victims and taunting police with chilling letters signed Son of Sam. He is now one of America's most notorious serial killers, having murdered 6 people and wounded 7 others, claiming at the time that a demon-possessed dog commanded him to kill. After his arrest, Berkowitz pleaded guilty and received 6 consecutive life sentences. Although he is technically eligible for parole, Berkowitz has been denied release 12 different times and expresses no desire to ever leave prison. Back in 2002, Berkowitz wrote to New York Governor George Pataki, stating, quote, "In all honesty, I believe that I deserve to be in prison for the rest of my life."
So what made Berkowitz murder? Was it the discovery of his adoption? Was it his unstable and isolated life? Or was the Son of Sam simply born to kill?
Number 12, Mark David Chapman.
You can't imagine what it was like. And then John died, and one cop said that all he said was I shot. That's all he said.
On the night of December 8, 1980, Mark David Chapman altered the trajectory of pop culture when he shot and killed John Lennon outside the Dakota Apartments in Manhattan. Chapman later claimed that he acted out of obsession and delusion, inspired by The Catcher in the Rye, and irate at what he believed to be a hypocritical lifestyle on the part of Lennon. He was sentenced to 20 years to life and became eligible for parole in 2000. He has since been denied 14 times. Lennon's widow, Yoko Ono, has understandably opposed his release, citing ongoing safety concerns. Now in his 70s, Chapman remains incarcerated in New York's Greenhaven Correctional Facility, and it is exceedingly unlikely that he will ever be released.
Well, if you want to pick it up from the night, I was standing there with a gun in my pocket.
Knew you were going to shoot him?
Sorry?
Knew you were going to shoot him?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Number 11, Dennis Rader.
This letter is very clear to tell us, you have the wrong people. You need to stop looking at them. You need to come back and focus your attention on me. I am the important one.
For nearly 2 decades, Dennis Rader terrorized Wichita, Kansas as the BTK Killer. Between 1974 and 1991, he murdered at least 10 victims, including 2 children, while leading a seemingly normal suburban life as a local church leader and city employee. After years of taunting police with cryptic letters, Rader's ego and vanity finally led to his capture in 2005, over 30 years after his infamous crime spree began. He confessed to everything and was sentenced to 10 consecutive life terms, one for each of his confirmed victims. Rader is housed inside Kansas's El Dorado Correctional Facility and will remain there for the rest of his life. He turned 80 years old in 2025.
I mean, I hadn't seen him in 18 years. He hadn't seen me. We had been cut off for 2 years. It had been letters all that time before that. So it took him a minute to process who I was. He's lost like 7 inches and he's in a wheelchair. He's pretty much rotting like to his core.
Number 10, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman.
We looked at our organizational chart and organized all efforts towards Chapo because we were able to target him from multiple angles.
Once considered the most powerful narco in the world, the former leader of the Sinaloa cartel is currently serving a life sentence plus 30 years in a U.S. maximum security prison. His criminal career spans decades, during which he oversaw a vast and violent empire that smuggled immense quantities of illegal substances into the United States.
His smugglers aided by innovative techniques invented by the drug lord himself. Drugs hidden on boats and in cars, but perhaps most notably, in tunnels.
Guzman's notoriety for escaping from high-security prisons in Mexico, only to be recaptured and finally extradited to the U.S. in 2017, adds to his infamy. His fate includes no possibility for parole, effectively ensuring he will spend the remainder of his time behind bars.
This is where Chapo Guzman escaped from when he was being pursued by Mexican Marines. They broke down this door and found they had missed him by 8 minutes.
Number 9, Johar Tsarnaev.
In the months leading up to Marathon Day, Johar gave ominous hints at darkness.
A key figure in the Boston Marathon bombing in 2013, which resulted in the tragic loss of 3 lives and injured hundreds. Johar Tsarnaev will be imprisoned for the rest of his days. The attack, one of the most shocking acts of violence on American soil in recent history, led to a massive manhunt culminating in Tsarnaev's capture. In 2015, he was convicted on 30 charges, including conspiracy and use of a weapon of mass destruction leading to death. While his death sentence is still being appealed, his imprisonment underscores the severe consequences of perpetrating acts of terror and highlights the justice system's commitment to holding individuals accountable for endangering public safety and security.
Police sources also claim Johar scrawled a message in the boat where he was hiding that the attack was retribution for Muslim deaths in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Number 8, Terry Nichols.
Those sketches were released as rescue workers worked their way through the wreckage of the Murrah Federal Building.
Nichols was hit with multiple sentences for his involvement in the Oklahoma City bombing in 1995, one of the deadliest acts of domestic violence in U.S. history. This devastating event resulted in the loss of 168 lives and left over 600 individuals injured. Nichols was found guilty of conspiring with Timothy McVeigh to carry out the attack as a crazed act of protest against the federal government. His conviction on federal and state charges ensures that he will remain incarcerated for the rest of his time on this planet, a testament to the gravity of his terrible actions and their lasting impact on the nation. Number 7, Michael Swango.
In 2000, he met his fate.
life in prison here in Florence, Colorado.
This former physician turned serial killer was implicated in the deaths of up to 60 patients and colleagues across the United States and Zimbabwe. Born in 1954, Swango graduated from Southern Illinois University School of Medicine, despite serious concerns about his competence. He worked in various hospitals where unusually high rates of death and illness followed his presence, leading to suspicions that he was poisoning patients and co-workers.
To still find levels even after all of that time and all of that degradation, it almost had to be due to an external injection.
Arrested in 1997, Swango was initially jailed for fraudulently obtaining his medical positions. In 2000, he pleaded guilty to murdering 3 patients and was sentenced to 3 consecutive life terms without parole. His case highlighted catastrophic lapses in hospital safety and the oversight of medical personnel.
Many who knew him say he could have been great. Instead, 30 years later, what happens in Michael Swango's mind is still a mystery.
Number 6, Larry Nassar.
We talked to Nassar's lawyer. First thing he said was, you know, this is a very important man and you're potentially going to ruin his reputation here.
A former USA Gymnastics national team doctor and osteopathic physician at Michigan State University, Nassar is serving an effective until death sentence after being convicted of multiple counts. His horrific crimes came to light after hundreds of young athletes spanning decades bravely came forward.
I'm so horribly sorry that this was like a match to turn into a forest fire out of control.
Nassar's conviction on these multiple charges led to a judgment that ensures he will spend the rest of his existence in prison. This sickening saga has had a profound impact on the world of sports, prompting significant discussions about athlete safety, the responsibilities of institutions, and the importance of listening to and protecting survivors.
I also recognize that what I am feeling pales in comparison to the pain, trauma, and emotional destruction that all of you are feeling.
Number 5, Keith Raniere.
He got 120 years, Mom. Who lives to that long? Nobody, that's the point.
The founder of Nexium, a company that purported to offer personal and professional development seminars, received a 120-year prison sentence. Convicted in 2019 on several charges, including forced labor conspiracy and racketeering, Raniere masqueraded as a self-help expert to manipulate, control, and exploit his followers.
Every single woman who came forward to tell their horror stories feels vindication.
The case against him revealed a disturbing pattern, including the creation of a secret society within Nexium where women were branded with his initials. His conviction underscores the dangers of cult-like organizations and the power dynamics that can lead to exploitation and abuse under the guise of self-improvement.
I had the kind of love with Keith that was uneasy because I loved him and I was afraid of him.
Number 4, Joseph James DeAngelo.
As you see on the top there, again, he's moved to a new cell, I believe, and he's got light once again covered with papers.
Known as the Golden State Killer, DeAngelo was convicted with multiple consecutive life sentences after pleading guilty to 13 counts of murder and numerous other charges. His crimes, committed during the 1970s and 80s, terrorized communities across California.
You thought he was quite smart, did you?
Oh, yeah. He knew everything about everything that needed to be known about law enforcement.
DeAngelo, a former police officer, eluded capture for decades until advancements in DNA technology and genealogical research led to his arrest in 2018. His facing justice in 2020 marked the end of a long and harrowing saga for the victims and their families, bringing some measure of closure to cases that had remained unsolved for over 40 years.
And I'm really sorry to everyone I've hurt.
Number 3, Gary Ridgway.
You're an evil, murdering, monstrous, cowardly man.
The Green River Killer confessed to the murder of 49 women, making him one of the most prolific serial killers in American history. His crimes, which took place in the 1980s and 1990s, primarily targeted women in the Seattle area, many of whom were vulnerable individuals.
As he approached the door of his truck, Jim Doyen and I got out, and I told him he's under arrest for the murder of several women in King County.
In 2003, Ridgway was spared the death penalty in exchange for cooperating with authorities to locate the remains of his victims, ultimately leading to his conviction on 48 counts of murder. His case is notable for the sheer scale of his monstrousness, the years he evaded capture, and the impact of his actions on the families of his victims and the broader community.
He could have been anybody living next door.
He was anybody living next door.
Number 2, Nicholas Cruz.
You're only 19, dude. Do you know how many years you had ahead of you? You know how many years you had? Years.
The perpetrator of the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School shooting in Parkland, Florida in 2018 is doing life without the possibility of parole. One of the deadliest school shootings in U.S. history, it resulted in the deaths of 17 individuals, including students and staff members, and left 17 others injured.
I have no forgiveness in my heart for you. You are a monster with no remorse, and every breath you take is a breath wasted.
Cruz's actions spurred a nationwide movement for gun control and school safety reforms, led by survivors of the shooting. His sentencing in 2022 marked the conclusion of a highly publicized and emotionally charged trial that captivated the nation.
But I have to live with this every day, and it brings me nightmares, and I can't live with myself sometimes, but I try to push through.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, James Holmes.
The duty judge has made a preliminary determination of probable cause to believe you're committed the offense of first-degree murder, which is a Class 1 felony under Colorado law.
Holmes is responsible for the 2012 Aurora, Colorado movie theater shooting during a midnight screening of The Dark Knight Rises, and is serving 12 life sentences plus 3,318 years. This act of violence, one of the deadliest shootings in U.S. history, resulted in the death of 12 individuals and injured 70 others.
This is a guy who is dressed up as the Joker, a villain, who's going to say, I didn't understand that what I was doing was wrong. That's not going to be easy.
Holmes's attack stunned the nation, igniting debates on gun control, mental health, and the security of public spaces. His punishment reflects the magnitude of the tragedy and the lives altered forever by his actions, as well as a grim reminder of the potential for violence in society.
I want all the jurors to know not to feel bad about what happened, because we're very happy with the sentence.
What do you make of these criminals and their stories? Let us know in the comments below.